Really vibing with this coffee right now. So as you're coming in, let me know where you're listening from. Let me know where you're taking notes from. Let me know where you're chiming in from, whatever you want to call it. Today, I'm really excited about this particular topic because this is going to help you regardless if you're a brand new agent trying to figure things out, or if you're an agent that's going from 10 transactions to 20, 30 to 50, 50 to 80. It's going to help anybody and everybody. So we're looking at, all right, so we are live now. So let me know if the audio is okay. I did some adjustments there, and the lighting got so much feedback on lighting. So thank you so much. It was a little bit dark. So I have lightened it up. I got help from an amazing individual, friend and viewer and watcher of this channel, and also friend Renzo. He's absolutely amazing, and he's helped me just tremendously. So this is all his work. So let me know what it looks like. But today we're looking at how to work with real estate virtual assistants. Now this is a dense video. This is a working video. So if you're at a place where you can take notes and really write things down, great. I'd love for you to have this as you're working through it. If this is if you're listening to this on the background, it's good to just get that setting or getting the just the overview. But in order for you to get the most out of this video and out of our topic, it is a working video. So just be fully aware of that. I'm going to be sharing my screen, and we're going to look at several different ways to leverage real estate agents as a whole. So I'm going to share with you not only the tasks that you can leverage virtual assistants with, but also I'm going to show you how to actually implement them. This is something that you don't get. This is something that you get the 31 different tasks that you can outsource to your virtual assistant, and then that's it. Well, we go beyond that. So today I hope that you can appreciate this, and I think you will, but just giving context as to what's about to happen. We're going to do just one brief overview of Trello, which is a project management system that I use. If you don't use Trello, I don't care. You could use Asana, you can use Monday.com, you can use what else is out there? Basecamp. Doesn't matter what project management system you use, as long as you're using one, because I used to be such a, I guess, a hater of these things, but they are just so valuable. It avoids all these emails. It avoids all these texts, these DMs. Everything is in one place, and you're going to see what that looks like. So I'm going to show you the overview of Trello, and I'm going to show you how to set up a board. Basically, think of a board like a task list. Think of a board as a place to like a job description is a better way of looking at it. So I'll kind of share two different boards with you. A board that's only for you, so a task list that's only for you, a job description that's only for you, and then I'm going to share with you how to create one for your virtual assistant. So how you communicate with virtual assistants, because it's very, very simple. We just need to have the blueprint. As you're coming in, a like is going to go a long way. And also let me know in the comment section where you're listening from, if you're using Trello, if you're using virtual assistants. If you are, great. Let me know how long. If you are not using virtual assistants, then let me know why not. So there's that's the second thing that we're going to cover. And then last, we're going to go into tasks. I'm going to share with you some tasks. And again, we're going to go very molecular. I'm going to show you how to outsource the task so everything can go streamlined. So you can assign a task and get that business going, keep that business moving. So I'm going to share with you different tasks that you can outsource and show you exactly how to do it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. We're going to go into a brief Trello overview. We're going to set up some boards, and then we're going to cap it off with some tasks. All right, so with that being said, let's do some screen sharing right here. So what you're looking at here is my Trello account. So this is my Trello boards that I have right now. So I'm not going to go into each one of them because that's irrelevant to you. But what I'm going to share with you is, this is really not that important, but you kind of see just the basic information. When the home page, you hit the home page, you are back on your boards, different workspaces. And then when you hit boards, you have the same list that you have over here. is presented. So the workspaces, that's basically your account, the overall account of Trello. So I have my account here, and then I have one that I was assigned to through one of my software companies. So Describe, which is now known as Agently. More to follow on that. All right, so let's see here. Thomas, no assistance. Don't know why. I want to use one. Chicago. You don't know why you want to use one, or are you looking for? Let me know on that, Thomas. No, okay, no assistance. Don't know why. I want to use one. I want to use one. Oh, okay, sorry. Chicago, I love it. Hey, Karina. Hi, I'm not using virtual assistants, but I have Trello. There we go. I use Trello without a virtual assistant as well. So no shame in that. All right, so on the right-hand side, you're going to go to create a board, start a template, create workspace, and create business workspace. So don't worry about creating you're going to be asked to create a workspace whenever you have your account. But unless you have multiple businesses, like if you have completely different businesses, then you would want to create a different workspace altogether. But for the most part, you're going to be operating in the board. And then over here, just general stuff. I'm not going to spend too much. I'm actually not going to spend any time on that because that's not going to be important for our time today. What's important for our time today is creating a board. So a board is well, I already went over what a board was, but let's just go into real life examples. Let's just say you wanted to hire your first virtual assistant, and you want that virtual assistant to do various tasks. We'll go into various tasks here shortly. But what I would do if I were you is I would set up a board individually with that virtual assistant. And the reason I do that is because although I have multiple virtual assistants, I have individual boards for every single VA because I want them to be doing. I'm able to track how many tasks they're doing. I'm able to track how effective they are with their time. So it's a way to see and compare apples to apples to the best of your ability, and be speaking to individuals at a different just with different tasks. Now you can invite all of your virtual assistants into one board and then assign them from there. I do have some of the boards like you can't see it right now, but the editing, that's one where I have multiple people within that board. But you can to start off, in assigning individual ones is not bad. So just gonna put the blue here, and then we're gonna go into real estate virtual assistants. All right, so you have the team, and you can create the team. So me, I just keep it as myself, and then I add people. So here's the board. This is your workspace for now. Now, again, if you wanted to add somebody, you would just invite them over here. And right now, I only have myself because I just created this. But if you have a team that you already input into the system, then you would just add them here. But if you're inviting a virtual assistant, which many of you will be, you're going to invite them there. Now, one of the questions that's going to come up is, hey, Jaime, what company do you use for virtual assistants? So if you go to jaimeresendiz.com/VA, and I do this just for simplicity because for some reason, people can't remember onlinejobs.ph. So this is actually the one that I use, which is a pretty good, it's a pretty good system. It's a pretty good outsourcing company where all of the employees or workers are from the Philippines. Now, Philippines have a very vast and robust industry of virtual work, remote work. Companies like Coca-Cola, Nike, any Fortune 500 company that you can think of. Let me turn on this fan real quick. Any company that you can think of actually hires a ton of individuals from the Philippines because of the education, because of really it's because of the education. They're very well qualified and educated, and they have an entire industry, they being the Philippines. So that's where you hear a lot of virtual assistants being from India, from the Philippines, from South America. Well, they have the ability of you have the ability of outsourcing to somebody that's highly qualified and pay a fraction of what you pay here. So that's why you see a lot of virtual assistants from there. But anyway, one of the questions was going to come up of, well, which VA company do you use? I just go to onlinejobs.ph, or if you want to go through my link, which is jaimeresendiz.com/VA, it'll send you right there. All right. So with that being said, let's get going. We've already set the foundation. The rest of the stuff is going to work as we get going. So setting up a board. I'm going to show you how to set up 2 boards real quick. One is going to be for yourself. So Karina, you mentioned that you have Trello, but you don't have a virtual assistant. That's fine. I have several of these boards that keep me in line. Some of these boards are for strategy purposes. Anytime I have an idea, I'll throw it up here. Some of these boards are for video making. Well, that one, actually, I share that one with an editor. You can use it for whatever you want. You don't have to have a virtual assistant. So I'm going to show you how to do one for yourself. So this is going to be a self board. So what I would do is just keep it simple. You're going to have your to-do list. You're going to have your doing list. And then you have your done list. It's that simple. I know it's like, well, Jaime, it's almost too simple. Well, let's keep it simple, because what happens here is Trello, unless you actively come into Trello every single day and make it part of your life and your workflow, almost like you check into your email, it's easy to forget and lose path of what you want. So just keep it as simple as possible. So if you want to create a board for a day, so this entire thing, and have your to-do list for a day, or if you want to have it for the week, if you want to have it for the month, if you want to do it for the year, it's totally up to you. I suggest doing one weekly. If you're looking, please include web page addresses below. I need to follow up. There you go, Thomas, absolutely. So let's just go for the week. What do I need to accomplish this week? I need to list 123 Main Street. And just get your ideas out there. We'll drill down a little bit further. I need to record YouTube video. And then I need to make IG reel. Send weekly email as an example, right? So these are your to-do list. Well, if you make this part of your workflow, if you make this part of your day, let's just say you were wanting to record that YouTube video. Okay, so let's throw it over to doing and then start working on it. So when you click through, what you're going to see is various different options. Don't freak out. We're going to go into this at a later time. So we still got to work through the tasks, but just giving you an example of what a card looks like. This is a list, as you see right there. This is a card. So an entire card that you can include attachments, you can include videos, you can upload PDFs, you can keep everything in one place. And I'll show you how I would outsource a specific task, and we're going to utilize that right there. But I just want you to see what a board can look like. So this is, again, very simple board. Don't overcomplicate it. It is just your board to keep you in line. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to archive this list. Oh, a friend of the channel and a personal friend of mine, Javier. Always good seeing you, dude. That's exactly what I needed this morning. Javier is a monster. He is a monster on YouTube, so y'all should check him out. And his business is absolutely just blown up, so he's doing a lot of right things. So when it comes to, that's your personal setup. Again, that's just a board. That's just an example of a board. Now let me show you how you integrate somebody else into your life, into your business. So these are the ones that these are going to be the lists that I suggest, because these are the ones that I actually have set up right now. So I'm going to set up the one-time list. Oops. And then I'm going to do the doing list. And then I'm going to do the review list. And I'll explain these very shortly. And then I'm going to do the finalized list. and then I'm going to do the complete list, and then I'm going to do recurring. All right, so again, this is another board that you can create. Upgraded the lighting too. Yeah, man, I got a lighting engineer yesterday. So he spent about 2 hours with me just getting things right. So again, Renzo, thank you. When it comes to adding somebody else into your world, again, if you have one virtual assistant or multiple virtual assistants, I encourage you to create a board specifically for that virtual assistant. In the event, I don't want to go negative, but I always look at plan Bs. In the event that you have to invite that virtual assistant to seek employment elsewhere, then you can remove them from this board and then invite somebody into your organization and pick up where they left off. It sounds pretty callous because it sounds like it's a plug and play model, but just giving you a little bit more context as to why I do the things that I do. And then also the productivity aspect, so you can compare who's getting more things done. But anyway, you would just invite them into this board, and they have access to this board at this point so they can see what is going on. You can limit the restrictions on what they can and can't do in terms of like deleting cards. You're able to do all that. But for all intents and purposes, you invite your virtual assistant on and you do one-time tasks. Let's just say, what would be a one-time task? Like all comments on respond. Let's go respond all YouTube comments. What else would be a one-time task? Create thumbnail. Let's see, send out contract. And now that one's a bad example because I actually have a full explanation on how to manage a transaction, so a contract, and then also how to integrate a video editor and all that fun stuff. So that's probably a bad example, but just to give you an idea of one time. So what they have now is they're going to operate from left to right. Once they are working on that, so you on the back end know, hey, they're working on it, they're going to move it to doing. And you need to either send them this video, the virtual assistant that is, or create a video yourself explaining your workflow. Because at the end of the day, it's your workflow that you are creating. When they're doing this, it gives you the peace of mind that something is being done, but also understand that if you are over in the Philippines, that's where your virtual assistants are, there's a good amount of hours in between here or where you are if you happen to be in the United States and the Philippines. So your night is their day is your night. So just be aware of that. All right, so when it comes to, let's just say they just finished everything. They responded to all the YouTube comments. They're going to throw it over to review. So review is going to be your bucket. It's going to be your list where once you see that it's in review, then you start reviewing what they did if you want to do that. So trust but verify, that's what I subscribe to. So I would go through YouTube comments and see if they were done correctly, if they updated everything that they should, or just make sure that it's up to my standards. Once I see that it is up to my standards and we're good to go, I would go to complete. However, if I notice that in the response to the YouTube comments, they were supposed to include a hyperlink but forgot to do that, or it was a wrong hyperlink for whatever reason, then I would go to finalize, where now this bucket becomes priority for the virtual assistant. So let's just say they were working on creating a thumbnail. The moment that this hits into finalize, how I coach my virtual assistants is to drop everything that they're doing and go to finalize. This takes priority. So that's what they're not going to go over and get another card and start working on that. This takes priority over that. So that's just how I operate. You could be different. It's up to you, but that's how I do it. So again, we're talking about working with the virtual assistant right here. These are all the lists that you're going to need. The basic ones that you're going to need. You can get more sophisticated if you want. The goal here is for you to come here and actually use it. Don't overcomplicate it, is basically what I'm saying. Now, let's just say responding to all YouTube comments was going to be something that you want them to do every single week. What I would do, as opposed to throwing it to complete, because I would just throw it here for the one time, I would actually put it in recurring. So once I have a list of items that I want to happen every single week, as an example, or every single day, whatever it happens to be, I just put it over here and keep this lane clean. Because if you want them to continue pulling from the one time and throwing it over here, blah, 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 and then throwing it back, that just becomes too cumbersome. So you're going to find all these recurring tasks and your one-time tasks are going to be buried. So for all of my boards, actually, the recurring list is fairly long because there's certain tasks that are they're a virtual assistant is responsible for something. So as an example, my podcast. So agent lead source podcast. That happens every Thursday. So after Joseph Gonzalez and myself get through with the recording, then I upload it to Google Drive, and then I drop the link here, which I already have all the instructions on what they need to do to upload it to Buzzsprout and start distributing it. I'll show you what a full task looks like here shortly. I just want you to understand the workflow of how you invite people in and also how you work with them. Any questions so far? Let me know in the comment section down below. I promised it was going to be detailed and dense, but I think this is something that can be appreciated, because there's a desire to work with virtual assistants, but the how becomes hazy. A lot of people are sending a lot of emails. That's an inefficient way of operating. And trust me when I say this. So when I was an executive at a healthcare company, so we had a network of compounding pharmacies, and we distributed medications to all 50 states, had 120 employees, all that fun stuff. I would send 100 emails per day, and I would receive 200 emails per day. And that's not an exaggeration. In other words, I peaked. I used to be somebody. Yeah, so my COO days are over, which is fine. All right. Oops. That's why we don't drink on the job. I just spilled coffee on my computer. We will persevere. Trust me. All right, so we're back on track. Let me know if you have any questions as we get going. Okay, so this is just a basic layout. Again, I showed you how to do a individual board, just keeping yourself accountable, if you will. And then here, this is how you introduce somebody else into your workflow. So another individual. So for our purposes today, I'm going to share with you how to do your video. A lot of people have been wanting to do video, but you're not necessarily sure what it takes. So in our example, let's just say create YouTube video. A lot of you have been trying to do YouTube. So here's how we're going to do this. So for our example, let's just pretend our virtual assistant is going to edit it, and it's going to create some images around that YouTube video, and it's going to distribute it. So our virtual assistant is a unicorn. And I say it's a unicorn because it's very rare you find somebody that's amazing at editing, that's amazing at design, and that has the proficiency in all the platforms to be able to distribute everything. It's a unicorn. Just understand that is very, very rare. So if I was going to create a YouTube video, here's what I would do. All right, so to keep myself organized, let's just create let's go through this list real quick. Members, you can add a virtual assistant to this, but the way that I set it up, since this virtual assistant is already on the board, I don't need to add a member. I can label this. So you can label this video, text, image, which is basically design, admin, and I think the other one is website, I believe are the tags that I have. So I can visually see in one snapshot, if I apply this label as an example, wow, there's a lot of, for my virtual assistant, I ask a lot of video, or on the contrary, for my virtual assistant, I ask very little video tasks. So either I need to change or something needs to happen because I know video is important. Checklist. I'll go ahead and create the YouTube checklist right here. But you'll see me add to it right now. That's why I'm not going into it at depth. Date. You can set up a date of when it needs to be done, and you can sync this up to your. You can sync this up to your calendar, by the way. Location doesn't really matter for our purposes, but if you said, hey, go to this meeting at X, Y, and Z time, then you can do a location. Again, this can integrate into your calendar, so it's up to you. Attachment, you can attach from your computer, from other Trello boards, and do a PDF. You can do a YouTube link, anything you can put in here. So if I was going to do this right here, I would go into here. And you do have to name it. Well, actually, it says optional, but it's easier to do name. I would do virtual assistant attach. So it's going to open up an attachment. Now, you can put it in description. I don't advise that, but you can. And it's going to show up there. I don't advise it because once you delete it, it's gone. So you have to you have to be careful on when you save or don't save. Because if you delete this, it's gone. There's a work around this. I'm not going to tell it to you because it would take me 30 minutes to do it because it involves a little bit of coding. So just be careful. Just be careful when you're saving things or having issue when you delete things by accident, or just do the Control Z and bring it back. Anyway, way too much. If you have a video editor and planning to hire a VA, do you recommend I have 2 separate boards? That's such a great question, Sharon. And hey, thanks for being here. All right. So video editing is an art in and of itself. We'll start there. So I have a video editor that's all he does. That's all he does. Could he upload it to YouTube? Sure. Could he log into my social media and post? Of course. I just don't do that. Even his design is great, but I would much rather I have a different style when it comes to design. So I have my own designer. I have my own just graphics guy. So to answer your question, I would get somebody that's proficient at video editing if that's your core. And I know that you do great videos, Sharon. So I would hire somebody that specifically does my editing. And then I would hire somebody else to do my admin type work. Because 1, it's going to be less expensive, but 2, well, that's the primary reason. It's going to be less expensive, and it's going to allow you to move a lot faster. So I hope that answered your question. If you have a video editor and plan to hire a VA, do you recommend have 2 separate boards? Yes. I actually did not answer the question, Sharon, because I just read it. Yes, I do recommend that you have 2 separate boards, and I'll show you what that looks like here shortly. All right. So now that what are we doing? Cover. It's up to you. You can do a cover if you want. You can put something fun up there just to break it up. Whenever you copy and paste I'll show you. You know what? I'll show you a card. I'll show it to you after we're through here. You can copy and paste a card in here. A image in here, or a photo in here. Or you can save it as an attachment. The moment that there's an image that shows up, it's going to show up here. So as an example, if I copy this image, you're going to see the thumbnail. You're going to see the thumbnail that I have here. So if I go here as an example anywhere, and I paste this image, I can make that the cover now. So this is a cover. This is the same thumbnail that you clicked on 2 seconds ago. Sharon, hey. Got it. Thanks. Awesome. So the image, you can make anything the cover if you want, as long as it's an image. But anyway, so we're going to continue going. Power-ups. I'm going to let you explore the power-ups. I'm not the biggest fans of power-ups because it does involve a little bit more money if you're going to use multiple. The automation, there's things that you can do here that automatically updates your calendar, that does a lot of pretty cool stuff. If this, then that type of scenario. I want to keep it very simple, very basic. 1, because I don't use these all that much. And then 2, I want to remove as much friction or as much resistance from you implementing. If this is your first virtual assistant, or if you're looking to outsource, let's not over improve the power-ups and automation, because chances are you think that something's going to work one way, but in reality it's going to work the other. So we're going to bypass that for a moment. Moving, you can move this to any other board if you want. Oops, I moved it accidentally. So you can move this to another board. So you see all my other boards that I have. I can move them there. I can move them to another part of the flow, or I can just move them around. So I screwed up, so I'm going to move them back over here. Let's just say to doing. So I click on that and I'm back. I can copy it if I want, copy everything that's within the card, and then move it to another board, or keep it on this board, but just move it to another list. So you see right there is the exact same. So if you need to copy your task, it's easy to copy your board overall, and it's also easy to copy your list and your cards. So you don't have to retype everything, especially if you know that it's a repetitive task. You can make this a template if you want. Now, the template, no, we're going to delete that real quick. No. So you can make it a template if you want, but you can make it a private template only accessible to your team, or you can make it a template that's available to everybody. So anybody that goes into Trello and searches your board, then they can download it from there. Which I might make this one. Let me know if I should make this one a template, so if you do end up using Trello, then you can search for the template and then use the one that we create here. Watch is nothing more than a little thing right there. So it gives you notifications. Archive is delete, and then share is you have that quick little link, so you can send it to somebody. So you say email for this card, embed this card. So we're not going to use that much. Now, I took a little bit more time that I cared for there. So let's go ahead and talk about creating a YouTube video. Now, again, that's a task that is very real. It's something that a lot of people have been wanting to do. So here's what I would do. If I was going to create a video, I'm going to go through my actual process. So I would go brainstorm. I would title SEO. I should probably use the same acronyms. Optimize, script, record, edit, distribute. All right, so this is the acronym that I came up with. So brainstorm, optimize, script, boss red, BOSRED, brainstorm, optimize, script, record, edit, and distribute. So brainstorming, again, I know it's some of this you already do intuitively, and that's fine, but I'm going to share with you how to start integrating somebody else into your business. So brainstorm, you can go over here. Let's just say you're going to brainstorm an idea. I want to make a video about virtual assistants. I'm going to keep it very simple. Optimize. So what do I want to call this video? Well, whatever I call this video, we're going to pretend that's what it is. So we're going to use this. All right. So this is me. So this is me still so far. I haven't introduced the virtual assistant at this point. If you wanted to script this, or if you wanted somebody to do, if you wanted to script this, you can absolutely script it, and you would just put it in the description. Let me get rid of that because it's going to be problematic. If you wanted to script it here so you can have notes, then do it. Or if you want a virtual assistant, so your assistant to do some research, then I would let them know that. If that's going to be part of your workflow, if you want them to help you with the script or write the script at all entirely, they are responsible for this one. So when you go to assign, you would add the member that's already on the card, so they know that, hey, this is yours. For me, since as an example, so one of my VAs, she's already in the board, of course, so her name is Jasmine. So if I wanted her to script this video or do some research, then I would put Jasmine right here. Well, I'm so used to doing the @ but since I don't have her on this board, I can't @ her right now. But if I were to do that and I would put Jasmine, she would be added. I'll add myself. So that would be a Jasmine task. So she gets that done. So she knows that I've already brainstormed, I already have the optimization. So she knows now it's go time. She needs to do this. And then this is going to be me. So I'll delete that so you don't get confused. So once it's scripted, once it's recorded, and if you had Jasmine, my version of Jasmine, if you had her editing, then you would also add her here. So I'll add myself just so you see it one more time. I guess I should keep it. I'm confusing myself. Here we go. So it's going to be, I know it's Jaime, but pretend it's your virtual assistant. Your editor is going to be your virtual assistant. Your virtual assistant is going to be the person that edits. And then distribute, you can also have your virtual assistant do it. All right, so let's go through this real quick. You brainstormed. So for our purposes, I would typically brainstorm up here in the description. Optimize. I would then, once I have this and I know what it's going to be called, I would rename the entire thing. Just so I'm clear on what it's going to look like. And then scripting, I would script it up here in the description. Record. Well, I would record like I'm doing now. And then I would get the file, whether I recorded on Zoom, whether I recorded on OBS, whether I recorded on, what's the software that I use? Ecamm Live. Wherever I recorded, once I have that file, I'm going to upload it to the Google Drive. And once I upload it to the Google Drive, I now have a link. So I am going to use that link over here. So we're going to pretend that my website is that link. So I have the raw file right here. Is this making sense? That's what I thought too. Thanks. Awesome, Sharon. Once I've recorded it, I would include the link to the Google Drive. So now my editor has access to it, and then my editor would then edit it. Once that is done, then my editor would throw it back up here on the Trello card, that link again, so I can click on it and I go straight to that video to review any edits. Any edits that I need to be done, I would just put it in the comment section. So minute 2, change, let's just say misspell, just bad example because I don't know how to spell misspell. Change image. And now now my editor knows to go and change that, right? So again, I'm just giving you a very molecular breakdown of what it looks like, and then distribute. So once it's done, then my my editor or my virtual assistant would then start distributing it, start clipping it, create an image, all that fun stuff. So while this is all going on, let's just say if it was on the everything was done and you needed to review it. So the editor was through and you needed to review it. You would throw it here. And then if you had some edits for the editor, then you would throw it to finalize. Once it's complete, you'd throw it over to complete and you're good to go. Right? So this is going to be bouncing back and forth in through here. So just giving you a real life way to integrate into your business, right? So I'm going to show you now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of my boards, and one of my boards is the live stream board. So this is going to look a little bit different than what you're seeing right here, because the goal here is to optimize the workflow for you. You don't have to work off of this if you don't want. I'm giving you a suggestion, an idea. Whatever you're going to take action on, that's the right answer. So let me show you a few boards so you get the gist of it. This is my live stream board. So again, it's going to look a little bit different. So this is my live stream board. before I went on live, here's what I did. I told you what the title was going to be. So work with real estate virtual assistants on Trello. I told you what I was going to talk about. So a little bit of an overview. So when you saw me speaking, and you can go back on the recording, when you saw me speaking, what I was doing was looking at the, sorry, I have something in my eye. When you saw me speaking, I was looking at the board. So I'll occasionally look up or occasionally look away from the camera. Well, the reason for that is because I'm looking at my notes. I shared with you that 3 things were going to happen. One was going to be the Trello overview, which we did. The second thing I told you was about the setup for the boards. And then we talked about the self board and the virtual assistant board. And now we're at the task list, so the video list. I forewent the contract one because I realized that the time was going to go too fast or too slow, whatever, however you want to say it. So this is just a quick and dirty. There's a few things that I can add here, but at this point, I'm more about speed because I know what I'm doing. I know this is a self board. So the YouTube live stream, notice that I don't have anybody here. And then the ones that I have ready to go. So brainstorming, optimize the scripting, promote on social media, go live, and then blog. So these are going to be turned into blogs at a later time. And these are the topics that I'm considering recording about. We're going live with here shortly. So let's go to another board. Let's go to Jasmine. I'll flash this. Well, let me move this for a second. Let me make sure she's let me make sure I don't dox her first. So let's go to Jasmine. All right, so it's just going to be a very small, like very flash blip because there's some stuff here that I'd rather not share, but since you're good people, I'll go ahead and share. So you saw that recurring task list that I mentioned to you a little while ago about the podcast. Well, here it is. This is me. You see I attached an intro to the podcast that she needs to then upload to the podcast or edit into the podcast. I uploaded the outro, so it's an actual WAV file that she needs to include in the editing of her podcast. And then I recorded a brief screen share similar to what you're seeing here, sharing and detailing with her how this needs to happen. So she has I think it's like 8 minutes video sharing with her, hey, this is how you do it. And then these screenshots, this is just back and forth on a few visual aids, the podcast files. So if I click on the podcast files, this is where I upload all of the files. So yesterday, as I mentioned, we recorded episode 46, which is going to be released today at 12 p.m. Central. So she went in here and got the video, the file that Joseph and I did. So again, the podcast. And what else can I show you? The list. So find the podcast folder, edit podcast, add intro, outro, equalize audio, upload podcast to Buzzsprout, SEO optimize description and tags, share on social media with links to podcasts, clip 20 to 60 videos, 20 to 60 seconds from podcast to share on social media. So this is my task list. And then you see here, yesterday I said episode is up. And then Jasmine yesterday hit me back with done, thank you. And oops, that was my login. I need to change my login. Alrighty, so that's why it's dangerous sharing stuff around here. All right. So has this been helpful? Let me know if this is something that that was helpful to you. If there's any questions, again, I don't have I did have the plans of doing the contract one, but at this point I have the Agent First Accelerator. So it's something that my team and I do on Fridays where we take different disciplines that we're improving upon and we work on them for about an hour. So I do have an event coming up here in about 10. Folks, really do appreciate you coming and hanging out. I mentioned to you that it was going to be a little bit dense. Hopefully I demystified a lot of this virtual stuff. A lot of you have been asking about virtual assistants, just not necessarily certain how to start, where to start, and all that fun stuff. And you're looking at companies that promise you virtual assistants where, just to give you an idea, they will they'll hire and do this exact same thing, actually even worse, but they'll do the exact same thing and they'll pay their virtual assistants $4 to $6, and then they'll charge you $9 to $12. Just so you know. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that it should be aware that you can get this done in a very simplistic way. There's no magic. There's no simple formula. No, there is a simple formula. It's not a complex formula. There we go. Very helpful, but I will see the video again. Awesome, Karina. You're awesome. Well, outside of that, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you soon.